We're sitting down with diehard Detroit fan Karen Todd. I'm pretty sure the folks at home can see behind you. You have quite the collection of Lions memorabilia. And could you just share with us how long have you been a Lions fan, Karen?
Well, I've been attending Lions games from back in the Silver Dome, but I didn't become a season ticket holder until 2022, right before we turned the page. I got season tickets the very beginning of 22 season, so I always say that I was the reason why they really made that change. I was always emotionally invested, but once they knew I was going to be there every week,
They
they were
showed
like,
up.
"Hey, we need to show up for this girl. She's driving 3 hours each way. Like she's in it." So that's always the running joke is that I was the lucky charm.
Now, speaking of which, Karen, where are you coming from?
I live in Canadian Lakes, so I'm about 3 hours from the stadium, give or
Oh,
take
yeah.
traffic and construction and all the fun stuff.
All that fun stuff. And of course, the weather.
Oh yeah,
Always fun this time of year.
yes, definitely.
Now, you're actually showcasing your commitment to the Lions. You did so this week. Can you tell us a little bit about a tattoo that we're getting?
Yeah, so I have wanted to get one for a while. I do want to just get a simple, the Lions logo. I believe we're gonna maybe get some apple blossom flowers in the background because that's Michigan's flower. I have to go down to Grand Rapids for that. My girl at Anarchy Tattoo, Amanda, she does all my work.
Tell us a little bit because we were chatting a bit before we got started today about your endless passion for the One Pride. I'd love for you to share the story with our viewers of how you were overseas, but you didn't let a drastic time difference stop you from watching your team.
Yeah, I was on a German cruise, riverboat cruise with my sister, and the Lions were away at the Texans nail biter game back in November. And I stayed up. The Lions were going to be starting at 2 a.m. German time. So I stayed up until 2 a.m. and watched it from my cruise bed on my laptop with my headphones in. And I had to be completely silent because my sister was laying next to me in the bed right next to me. So I was like air fisting. So yeah, I was up from 2 a.m. until 5 a.m. and I wouldn't trade it for a thing because that was such an incredible game to stay up for.
Now, something that really stands out to me that you recently said was you purchased season tickets in 2022. Now, this was, just as you said, at the start of a new chapter, but also at the end of a not great chapter for our Detroit Lions. And that is what's so special about your commitment here, Karen, is you bought season tickets at a time where not a lot of people wanted season tickets to the Lions. You were that committed. And frankly, I agree with you. Maybe you are a bit of a luck charm here. What excites you about this team? What was that moment in your life where you felt your passion and your fanness just click inside?
So the moment that I really fell in love with the new team, with the new coach and Campbell, I watched the Die Hard documentary that he did, and it was the Behind the Den, and it was the greatest documentary. You felt like you got to know the players. And I feel like that's a big difference between the current team that we have versus the seasons in the past, is I feel like they're a lot more out there personality-wise. So you get to know the players more. You feel like you know them more. But we had went to a game before we purchased season tickets and we had lost. And it was kind of like hey, we have to redeem ourselves. Like we have to go and watch them win, which is how we ended up investing in season tickets at that point. But it's the atmosphere down there. Last week it was so loud that I hadn't had to plug my ears in any of the seasons past, in last year's playoffs. And my ears, I had to plug them at 2 different times during that game because it was incredibly loud. And you can't, even walking out after the games, the crowds are still cheering and they're still screaming, and it's just the atmosphere that you can't get anywhere else.
You really can't, and unless you experience it for yourself, it's really difficult to describe. You just did a fantastic job of describing what it's like to be a part of that. So, what does it mean for you that Detroit not only had one of the best records in the league, came on top of the NFC, beat a lot of teams that a lot of the pundits were like, oh, well, we don't know this week, and then they just kept winning and are now starting a playoff run that all of Michigan and beyond is excited about? What does it mean to see your team and the community all around finally get the winning team they deserve?
Well, I think that's the thing. I think it's a big finally moment because, like, for myself, I was always like, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Someday they're gonna be great, and I'm gonna be able to laugh at all you guys that called them the lie downs and all these other things, because I knew that eventually it was going to happen. I knew that once all the right pieces were in place and we had the staff that we needed and we had the GM that we needed and we had all of the puzzles coming together, the incredible draft picks that we were able to get, you know, when he picked Gibbs and everybody was like, what are you doing? You know, it's he knows what he's doing, and that is the biggest thing. Is I think that it's just in Campbell we trust. Even though on a lot of the fourth downs, you'll see me turning around at the stadium and going, "Why aren't we just getting the points?" Because I get so frustrated. I am used to the old Lions where it was like, we need to get every point we can get. So when they go for it on fourth, a lot of times I'm in the stands turning around and like, I can't watch because I'm just get the points. And then of course we get it. And then my husband's like, I told you. And I was like, okay, fine. But no, it does take some time to get used to the going for it on fourth and actually being successful with it, and having that we're gonna go for it and not look back mentality.
And it is absolutely understandable after decades of potentially winning seasons that then for some reason at the last second something weird, crazy always happens to the Lions. But this year it's all circling around and coming back for just the dynamite season that we've had. Karen, thank you so much for chatting with me today. Your dedication and love for the team is absolutely apparent. So excited to see the new tattoo. And hey, go Lions.
Go Lions.
I try to dream that we're not you. Oh, when the blue and silver rays, there's just here the roof, rah, rah, rah. How hard win the game. I know you will keep our faith.